Trump added that he has stopped receiving intelligence briefings at the White House, arguing, "I can do my job without any intelligence whatsoever." In this, you see dozens of military helicopters flying over the Colombian border town Cucuta near Venezuela. Unconfirmed reports claim that these might be US helicopters. Andrew Coribico in the Oriental Review is writing, "A Venezuelan coup could challenge OPEC Plus and build Fortress America." The Bolivarian Republic is experiencing an unprecedented crisis after the US and many of its Latin American allies from the so-called Lima Group recognized Juan Guaido as the country's interim president. The 35-year-old head of the National Assembly seemingly came out of nowhere in his meteoric rise to power and symbolically declared himself the head of state on the national holiday of 23rd January, which commemorates the day when a Venezuelan strongman was deposed in 1958. This attempted usurpation of power came just days after the leaders of a failed low-level military mutiny called on the people to take to the streets in support of regime change. Andrew says there's no doubt that what's happening right now in Venezuela is the culmination of the years-long hybrid war being waged against it by the US. The economic warfare of the past combined with some governmental mismanagement to produce an economic crisis that gave birth to color revolutionary unrest and terrorist stunts such as the attempted assassination of Maduro last summer by an explosive drone. The military pledged loyalty to the Constitution and is therefore determined to support Maduro, but there's a real risk that this latest color revolutionary unrest will trigger a self-sustaining cycle of hybrid war destabilization that might escalate to the level of a civil war or even a foreign invasion if this pre-planned and coordinated multilateral regime change operation succeeds. In that scenario, Venezuela would be left on its own to fend off this aggression in spite of its multipolar relationships. And this is interesting. Russia and China aren't capable of directly defending Venezuela, even though they've voiced their support for international law. And their real national interests rest with ensuring that Caracas repays its billions of dollars of loans to them and respects the energy and military deals that were previously signed, despite not having any way of guaranteeing that will happen if Maduro is overthrown. Therefore, the most likely international outcome of his ouster would probably be that the Washington-backed coup authorities would declare those deals null and void, after which they'd likely open up the world's largest oil deposits in the Orinoco Belt to US companies. The long-term repercussions are that the US could challenge Russia and Saudi Arabia's OPEC Plus alliance and advance its Fortress America geopolitical project in the Western Hemisphere. Maduro said in RT, US intervention in Venezuela will be much worse Vietnam than you could imagine. Here he's seen receiving the credentials of Her Excellency Anuphone Kith-i-Rath, designated ambassador of the Lao People's Democratic Republic. And August 2018, I referred to that attack by drone, and I was also talking about Trump relishing his financial warfare strategies, of which Venezuela is the best example. And I was saying he was also attacking Maduro by remote control drone. And the reason that Andrew's touched on it is really that access to oil has defined 20th century empires. And the petrodollar agreement was the key to the ascendancy of the US as the world's sole superpower. Threats by any nation to undermine the petrodollar system are viewed by Washington as tantamount to a declaration of war against the United States of America. 8th of May 2017, I was writing about Nicolas Maduro's Venezuela being at breaking point, but we've been breaking for a while.